Lots of TV shows are going to be done out here, trying to figure out what will happen in the formation of the government. So we've beaten everyone to the punch and started off right from here to try and find out what is going to happen in these elections and what might happen after the elections. The second reason why Tamil Nadu is very much in the news, of course, the events that are happening over the border in Sri Lanka and particularly with the LTTE. So lots to discuss. Let me start off by welcoming the guests whom we have with us today. Jayanti Natarajan with us here, spokesperson of the Congress Party, all familiar with us in the big fight. Today, we'd also like her to go back to a very painful incident in her life. And as the LTTE is cornered in one part of Sri Lanka, she would no doubt be thinking of the day when she was there with Rajiv Gandhi on the evening when he was actually assassinated. Sitting next to her, it's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Maitriyan, spokesperson of the AIADMK, who is, of course, contesting against both the Congress Party and the DMK, whom I will move on to next. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome Mr. L. Ganeshan, who is a spokesperson of the DMK. Thank you so much for being with us. Next, we have Subramanian Swamy, another old friend of ours on the big fight, who's, of course, the president of the Janata Party. Thank you so much for being with us. Sitting next to him, somebody with whom Subramanian Swamy has been at loggerheads at great length. So it's been an act of particular mischief on our part to see two both next to each other. Father Jagat Gasper, who has been working a lot in humanitarian causes, been very closely and actively involved with the situation in Sri Lanka as well. You've interviewed Prabhakaran. There's some people who said you've also helped raise funds for the LTTE, which we will, of course, discuss with you. We will talk about that. We will talk about that when the show actually starts. Mr. N. Ram needs no introduction. He's been really assisting NDTV a lot in the entire run-up, in the entire election campaign and giving his views on what he thinks might be happening. Thank you so much for being with us. Dr. Ezilal, next, who has been somebody who's been speaking out a lot in favor of the LTTE and who thinks what's happening in Sri Lanka is a shame. Great to have you with us. And senior journalist S. Murari, rounding off the panel out here with us. And perhaps this is overkill, but hey, how can we ever do a show in Chennai and not be joined by some of our other old friends? It gives me great pleasure to welcome Cho Ramaswamy, editor of Tughlaq. Thank you so much, Cho, for being with us on The Big Fight. Thank you all so much for being with us. And I have run out of breath in introducing such a fantastic, massive panel. Okay, before we turn our attention to the electoral situation in Tamil Nadu, the situation in Sri Lanka obviously is capturing the headlines, so I'd like to get everyone's views on this. Jayanti, maybe it's difficult for you to be totally dispassionate about this, given the fact that you were there when Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated. If the LTTE is, well, perhaps in its final chapter, what do you feel?
Well, as far as we are concerned, it's not just a matter of passion or emotion. The LTTE is a banned organization in this country and in many other countries all around the world. And therefore, it is not the LTTE to which my concern and my party's concern is directed. It is the thousands and thousands of innocent civilian Tamils, the civilian population, who are caught on the island, who are caught between the two sides. It is towards them that our concern is directed, and it is for their sake that we will strain every nerve to ensure their safety and their security.
Dr. Maitriyan?
The happenings in Sri Lanka, it is one of the worst human tragedy in this century, and probably a genocide of the magnitude which has not been witnessed in the recent past. And the people of Tamil Nadu are terribly perturbed by the great Indian betrayal, by the Union UPA government and the DMK government in Tamil Nadu, and the drama they have been enacting on this issue.
Dr. Maitriyan,
what would you suggest they do?
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. What do you suggest that the government does?
There is no point in sending chaprasis for missions. The union government has sent two officials.
Ms. Jayalalitha can offer to go.
The Prime Minister of the country. So, yeah, if we are in power, we will definitely do that.
No, she can go even now.
No.
She can go even now.
See, that is the whole problem is they are not going. The Prime Minister is eloquently silent. Sonia Gandhi has not uttered a single word on this issue.
No,
not a single word.
I have to set
a
him
UPA
right.
chairperson, the prime mover of the government, the magnet behind the government, not a single word uttered on this issue.
Mr. Maitriyan, how can you call the National Security Advisor of India a chaprasi. It's a bit
No,
like...
Vikram, if you
when
want
it
to have
means
this
chaprasi,
debate in
they are
an-
officials.
You can't call...
They are
hang
not
on.
decision makers.
You're calling the
They are
NSA
not
a
decision
chaprasi.
makers.
Ram,
The decision maker has to go. The Prime Minister and
Mr.
the
Ganeshan.
UPA
Vikram, if
chairperson
you
has to
want to
open their
have
mouth.
this debate in an atmosphere
Yes.
of calm discussion, we are willing to do it. If Mr. Maitreyan wants to be outshouted, I can also call Ms. Jayalalitha names. That is not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah,
He's wrong. Sonia
you
Gandhi
may
has
call
already
names,
spoken.
but after
Sonia
16th
Gandhi
May,
has already
you will not have any
spoken.
occasion to speak.
Sonia Gandhi has already spoken, and Sonia Gandhi has already
Mr. Ganeshan, okay.
No,
let's
Vikram,
get the
I can't
DMK.
allow Mrs. Gandhi. He's taken the name of Mrs. Gandhi. I will say Mrs. Gandhi and the Prime Minister have already conveyed their determination to stop this, which is far more than his party or his leader have ever done.
Okay, Mr. Ganeshan.
Say the genocidal monster and maniac, Rajapaksa, wants to wipe out entirely the Tamils in Sri Lanka. Number one. Number two, that problem started long, long ago. In 1956, when Sinhala only Act was passed, Tandai Selva, Father Selvanayakam, when he started Satyagraha, he was much influenced by Gandhi, and that was, their heads were broken into pieces. Then it started. Now coming to the present situation, what exactly is there? Say Mr. Maitreyan says, say in the President's address, the Government of India has declared that there shall be ceasefire, and the Government of India declared that there shall be ceasefire.
Where is the ceasefire?
You see, wait a minute, Mr. Maitreyan.
Maitreyan, would you like-
What your Jayalalitha told, no, ceasefire shall not be declared. If it is declared, it will be misused by LTTE, and therefore please don't declare ceasefire. Now you are coming and telling that you are for ceasefire and you are for
Because it's
negotiated
elections.
settlement. I know, you had been right from the beginning. LTT Prabhakaran shall have to be brought to India, and he should be tied here, and he should be hanged here. This was what Miss Jayalalitha told. And now, all on a sudden, you have sympathy because you are having election in your mind. You have no sympathy for the suffering Tamils there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Subramanian Swamy.
Since 95% of the innocent Tamils are now free from the clutches of the LTTE, and the remaining also probably would be freed very soon, the real question would be the genesis of the struggle arose out of the fact that the Sri Lankans have a unitary constitution. And the Tamils in that were suffocated because 75% of the Sinhalese got 100% of the power. So we have therefore...
No, we understand the genesis of the problem, but today, would you be among those who say there should be a ceasefire here to allow the LTT to escape yet again?
Swami should have to, I beg his pardon, I should have to intervene. Say, Tamils in Sri Lanka never started Tamilism question. When they had been suppressed, when they had been started, when they have been massacred.
I'm trying to come to a prescriptive solution as to what happens next.
Yeah, see,
what would
the
you like to see
question-
done?
The fundamental question is how the rights of the minority Tamils can be safeguarded.
Yeah.
And that the only way is by a constitution which provides for a certain amount of local autonomy. Just as we have in India, we have states which have certain powers allotted in the constitution. That is how the struggle began before it was hijacked to a militant struggle. So I think that's the, as far as your question is concerned, there will be a ceasefire in a few days' time anyway, because there wouldn't be any Prabhakaran left. So therefore ceasefire is going to be a automatic outcome
we
of
are
that.
seeing the reports. It could be happening. We're not quite sure what exactly is happening inside there. Reports are very tough to come
Yeah.
by. But the final end game, in
The
all probability, is playing
a
itself
call
out even
for
as we speak.
ceasefire is de facto a call to support the LTTE.
Okay, is it?
There can be a call, please let me go. There can be a call for ensuring that the Tamils get their due rights in a new Sri Lanka.
Joe Ramaswamy, let me get you in. What is your sense of what should be done and what India perhaps and the Indian government can do in whatever is happening in the northeast part of Sri Lanka right now?
Congress is doing quite well on the Sri Lankan front. Though they are making noises now and then, saying that the civilians should not be attacked, that there must be a ceasefire and all that they are saying. But in effect, they are not putting pressure on Sri Lanka to stop their action against the LTTE. What is happening in Sri Lanka is not an action against the civilians there, not against the Tamils. It is, the aim of the action is to contain the LTTE, to decimate it.
Joe Ramaswamy, I just want to ask you, you've heard what the political parties are saying out here. Is this all really just with the election in mind?
Tamil Nadu leader of the CPI, Mr. Pandian, started all this by expressing concern about what is happening in Sri Lanka. Then every other party had to match it, because the CPI is not known to raise such issues, and since suddenly they did it, everyone thought, we being Tamil parties, we must do it. And so everyone joined the tamasha. It became a huge big cry all over. But the people are not really involved in it. The advocates got involved, so a few colleges were mobilized to agitate. But the people were really not involved. The Sri Lankan issue has never been a poll issue here, in spite of various crisis points which the Tigers and the Tamils there faced. In fact, once MGR dared Karunanidhi to make it a poll issue in a by-election. Karunanidhi didn't take the bait, because everyone knows that the people are not going to vote on it. If the people had been so much concerned about the Tigers, their fate, Prabhakaran and all that, Vaiko, who has been most consistent in his folly of supporting the Tigers, he would have been a great leader by now in Tamil Nadu. His vote is constantly eroding.
You're saying that you would like the government at the center to take action against leaders like Vaiko and like Ramdas, whom you think are supporting the LTTE?
Yes, definitely. Even here, you see, there is the Prevention of Unlawful Activities Act. It makes it an offence to support a party which has been, an organization which has been banned in India. These people have been consistently doing it.
How would you all respond to that? That leaders who are supporting the LTTE, the government should take action against?
Definitely, that's the law of the land. They must be...
okay, so are you referring to that, Mr. Maitrian? Do you think you're supporting the LTTE?
The first person against whom such an action should be taken is the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. What he has uttered in the last couple of days to your own TV. The first person should be...
Mr. Ganesh,
excuse me.
Mr. Ganesh, hang on. No,
excuse me.
Now that he's raised the issue, let's just get a clarification. Hang on, can I just ask you, Mr. Ganesh, now that he has raised the issue, Mr. Karunanidhi did say Prabhakaran is a friend of mine. He is not a terrorist. There are people in his group who have taken to terrorism.
I think you're diverting the issue because he's already clarified it. And he said what he meant. The issue really, Vikram, the issue, no, you're allowing Mr. Maitrian to politicize a serious discussion. And I would suggest you don't do that. And he, may I say that...
Can I get Mr. Ganeshan to answer this? Mr. Ganeshan, can I just... Okay, can I just ask you, what is your stance on the LTTE and on Prabhakaran? I'm just asking you, what is your stance? Let's just get it clear once and for all.
Is he a terrorist or is he a freedom fighter?
I couldn't follow you.
I'm asking you, what is your position on Prabhakaran and on the LTTE?
LTTE. Say, LTTE is one of the fighting groups waging war against, no doubt. It's one of the, fighting groups in Sri Lanka or in Jaffna, Tamil Eedam, if I am to put it in that way. No doubt that has been banned. With all that, how did it grow? From where it started? That you should have to take into account. As things stand, our stand is...
Hang on. I'm asking both of you a direct question. Do you recognize the LTTE today as a terrorist organization or no?
No.
You, sir, have come from the MDMK. You found one of the people who set up the MDMK. At that time, you didn't recognize it. Today, do you say the LTTE is a terrorist group or do you not?
They are the fighters for the rights of their own people. They are the fighters for the rights of their own people. And if you call them as terrorists, call them as terrorists. I have no botheration.
Okay.
And
Jayanti,
that is what happened elsewhere.
You're looking distinctly green around the gills on hearing him saying that.
No, I'm not at all green around the gills. We are that is his view, to which I vehemently disagree, no matter how many people they brought with them to clap for them. The fact of the matter is, nobody in this country...
Hang on.
What is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Look, gentlemen,
That's what I'm saying.
Be very polite.
That's what I'm saying.
Disruption. I'm sorry, we're not going to have this.
That's what I'm saying. You're all supporting the LTTE, which is a banned organization. And we at least cannot forget that there is a clear distinction between innocent civilian Tamils who are being killed and the LTTE, which is a banned organization in the country which killed Rajiv Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India.
Okay.
That is something which I will never forget, which you may forget. I will not forget.
Members of the audience who have come here specifically from a particular...
You can clap all you want for the LTTE, but I will remember forever what happened to Rajiv Gandhi.
Farik, as per you next.
I think I'm responding to people who said whether Vaiko and other people who support the LTTE should be arrested by the government of India. I think we have, for several years, we have called the LTTE for what it is and what it is not. We know it. But today, we are called upon. It's the obligation to call the government of Sri Lanka and its rulers today. Look, yesterday an interim report submitted to the Security Council, informal report. 6,342 people have been killed in the last 3 months, and 8,496 people have been grievously wounded. And the real report says the number could be at least twice as such. 300,000 people have been herded into one place. They've been shorted. They've been detained in concentration camps. They've been denied access to any United Nations human agencies. They've denied access to international media.
Okay.
I think it's a genocide, and anyone who participates with let's call it's a politico-military junta, Rajapaksa and his brothers.
Okay.
No, let me finish. Let me finish. If you tell me that you call names on LTTE, now call names on the government of Sri Lanka as perpetrators of genocide, and those who ever support government of Sri Lanka participating or legitimizing in the project of genocide against Tamils.
Okay, Enram.
This is ridiculous propaganda.
Yeah.
This kind of thing gets you absolutely nowhere, because you have pictures of the LTT guys with guns herding these people like sheep, and it's a huge tragedy. So let's look at it calmly. The people of Tamil Nadu are much more clear-sighted than many of the leaders, including some of them here. They make a clear distinction between the Tamil civilians, the Tamil people, the Sri Lankan Tamil people, for whom they have strong feelings of solidarity. I have it. Some of them, a lot of you have it. And the interests of the LTTE. The LTTE has been not only banned, I wish to point out that the state government and the central government were of one mind in going ahead with the extension of the ban. This happened for extension for 2 years. This happened only in May last year.
Okay.
And to say that Prabhakaran is not a terrorist, he is a freedom fighter, sincere freedom fighter, but terrorism has crept into the movement is exactly what we have been saying. It is like saying Osama bin Laden is an idealist Islamist, but Al-Qaeda is a terrorist organization.
Okay.
People don't
Point
buy
well
that.
taken.
People don't buy that.
Okay.
So India's role, Vikram, is to ensure that civilians, we have to help civilians, we have to help rehabilitate them, save their lives. This is the supreme necessity today.
Okay.
But it's got diverted into whether we support. Of course, LTTE is banned, and anyone supporting it materially invites the criminal law of this land. I'm not going to say that punish anyone who speaks like this propagandist here. But,
I'm sorry.
He's calling you you actually surrounded. You've got them on both sides of you. So let me go to the next one. Dr. Ezilal Vayangan, before you start, you have been speaking out and agitating for the LTTE, and you're a great advocate almost of the LTTE. Don't you think that, as the point which is being made out here is, yes, they're the rights of the Sri Lankan Tamils, and nobody should say that they should be treated in the way they were earlier. Yes, there was Sinhala chauvinism earlier. Yes, the Tamils got a raw deal. But that is one, and the LTTE as an organization should surely be divorced from that.
Actually, you should, first I would like to have a big fight with you. You give more importance to Rajiv Gandhi assassination all around. When you take LTTE, you talk about Rajiv Gandhi assassination. Why can't you give the same importance to Mahatma Gandhi's assassination or Indira Gandhi's assassination? One.
Okay.
Number two. No, number two.
Crazy.
Yeah, let's wait. Let me say, even President of India have given a parliamentary address in order to have negotiations between LTTE and Sri Lankan government. So you mean even President of India speaks about the banned organization? It was documented in the parliament. Number two. And number three, if Bhagat Singh is for Punjabs, if Netaji for INA, if Vietnamese has Ho Chi Minh, it is going to be for Indian Tamils, it's only Prabhakaran.
Hang on. Not necessarily for too long. Prabhakaran may not be around for too much longer. And Mr. Ballari.
Can I say, because a lot of things have been said about Prabhakaran. What is wrong with the whole problem is we either demonize him or we deify him or glorify him. The truth lies somewhere in between. There are two aspects to it. One is we don't look at it through the Indian prism. As far as India is concerned, Rajiv Gandhi's assassination is unpardonable. As Swamy rightly says, it's a question of national pride, and Prabhakaran is a wanted man, and the court order is there for his extradition. That is one aspect of it. The second aspect is global ban on LTTE as a terrorist organization. Even when the US waged a war on terror, it did not include the LTTE. For 4 years, LTTE was involved in negotiations with the Sri Lankan government, brokered by Norway, and India was very much in the loop all through, because the point is there cannot be a solution to the problem in Sri Lanka without the involvement of the LTTE up till now.
The LTTE may not exist.
We call it a necessary evil. We call it a necessary evil if you like.
That's why we are saying
the situation.
See,
and Father, one more point. Father, please. Father, please.
What you're saying is,
Father,
the
please.
issue of genocide.
That is the point I want to
There are
make.
rules of engagement. There are United Nations conventions on how to engage in a war.
I'll take you on that.
Rules of engagement is a legitimate government cannot even indulge in a war that causes incidental loss of life to the civilians.
But who's causing?
Yeah.
Hang on. Father Gaspar, one sec. Yesterday, you're saying innocent loss of life. Fine. Yesterday, the entire world saw pictures of LTTE cadres shooting at unarmed and innocent civilians, killing them to prevent them from escaping.
But that does not absolve the Sri Lankan government.
Okay, I
That
got
does
it.
not absolve the Sri Lankan government from throwing
Why are you not allowing the UN organization to go in?
question is-
What do you have to hide? What do you have to hide?
Whether there is
What do you have to hide?
genocide or
I don't know
not.
if you
You are
I'm not the Sri
letting
Lankan government.
legitimacy.
I'm not the Sri Lankan government. I'm just questioning your portrayal.
Tell
Your
Rajapaksa
portrayal
to
of
allow Ban Ki-moon's
Prabhakaran.
representative. Why is he not allowing
Hang
in?
on. I'm not allowing anybody in or not allowing anybody in. I'm just questioning your portrayal and his portrayal of Prabhakaran as some sort of a Santa
They are not
Claus,
talking
because
about
obviously he's not.
Prabhakaran.
They are, of course they are.
We are not talking about
He
Prabhakaran.
said
We are talking
Prabhakaran is a
about
great man.
We are talking about the
You
political
said Prabhakaran is a great man. I'm saying he was
denies-
shooting innocent civilians yesterday.
Nobody justifies.
I would say.
No, we are not disagreeing.
Mr. Ganesh,
Nobody
hang on.
justifies the assassination
Mr. Ganesh.
of Rajiv Gandhi.
We are not talking.
That
We have
is an
spoken enough
assassination.
about Prabhakaran. Let's talk
We are
about
against
Rajapaksa
it.
now.
Okay, come on.
Let's
Mr.
talk about
Ganesh.
Rajapaksa. We have
One
spoken enough.
point I have to make.
One
I have one point to make.
Say, question is, do you realize that there is genocide or not? Number one, do you realize that there is terrorism or not? Which brought first?
See, we grant there is terrorism. We
Which
grant
has
there is-
created?
give us a
It
chance.
is not the
This word is
terrorism,
loosely
but it was
being bandied
the
about.
genocide which has
Genocide
created
is
terrorism there.
firstly defined.
Therefore, this we should have to be very
Nobody-
clear.
The audience
And
says,
as
please
far
keep
we are
calm.
concerned,
Can the audience keep calm? You get your
Negotiate
chance
and
next
settle.
time.
Vikram, nobody denies there's genocide. That's why we're taking it very seriously. All of us
Thank
are
God
saying
Congress
that.
said genocide.
All of us are saying that. All of us are taking very,
Yeah.
very serious action about it. I'm saying something which is entirely different.
Yeah.
The point is, your panelist here, Mr. Irilan, said, why don't you talk about Mahatma Gandhi? Why don't you talk about India?
that's-
But we're talking about Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi didn't get assassinated in Sri Lanka.
RSS is
It
not
was
banned,
Rajiv
madam.
Gandhi.
Kind information.
It was, I know,
RSS is
and
not
we
banned.
talk about the
RSS is not banned, madam.
and
Why
we
don't you talk about that?
No, we are talking.
She's been asking for a ban on the RSS.
Exactly, we've been asking the government.
All right.
We've been asking the government. We've been asking the government for a ban. We've been, no,
RSS is not represented
no, excuse me,
here.
listen, Vikram.
And no
Vikram, I
Supreme
haven't
Court-
finished yet.
Supreme Court never held
Vikram.
that RSS was responsible for Mahatma
Vikram,
Gandhi's
we've
assassination.
been asking.
It's only crazy people who are saying that.
We've been, no, therefore
going
they are
far
seeking
afield.
to divert the
They are
matter.
diverted.
They are seeking to divert the matter by talking about these issues. The fact is, and Father Gaspar is going on about Rajapaksa. Who supports him? I don't support President Rajapaksa. I'm a Tamilian. We don't support President Rajapaksa. And therefore, We are all of us condemning the attacks on the civilians. Whether we allow the United Nations or not is something for Sri Lanka to decide, not for this audience.
Okay.
We can't go in
Can I
and attack
ask
the
you?
United
Can I
Nations.
ask one thing? I want to
No
ask
matter
all of
what
you a
course of
question.
action.
I have to take a break. Mr. Bharani, one second. I'm just asking you one question. I'm coming to all of you. I want to
We are
answer.
just
I want to
diverting it.
answer from all of you. I know there is a humanitarian situation which is happening in that particular area, which is called a no-fire zone. Everyone is concerned about it, and everyone should be concerned about it. There are innocent civilians in there. There are two different points of view as to who's responsible for it. Is it the LTTE, which is holding people hostage? Is it the Sri Lankan army, which is not declaring a ceasefire and allowing people to escape? But I want to ask all of you one question. It's happened on at least a couple of occasions in the past that the LTTE was on the ropes. A ceasefire was announced. The LTTE got off the ropes and came back and did considerable amount of mayhem. It happened in 1986, partly under Indian government pressure. It happened in 1990, when partly under DMK pressure, the IPKF was pulled back before the LTTE could have been crushed for all time to come. Today, if you do have another ceasefire, is there a danger that the LTTE could rise again? I'm going to start by throwing that question to you, sir, Mr. Maitrian.
See, the crisis is the government of India, represented by Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, he said in the parliament, there were only 70,000 people who were trapped in the Vanni. Whereas yesterday itself, the Sri Lankan government, as well as the Indian media, have said that more than 1 lakh people have come out. Who has lied in the parliament?
What did Jayalalitha
Who has
say?
lied in the parliament?
All these years, what did Jayalalitha say
Mr.
about
Maitrian,
LTTE?
Dr. Maitrian,
I
Dr.
think you should
Maitrian.
just stop talking about the LTTE.
Jayanti, can I? Okay, very quickly, the voice we haven't heard. Is it just a way, almost like a ploy for the LTTE to? I mean, LTTE is almost on the verge of extinction right now. Saying let's get back onto the negotiating table. Does that allow the LTTE to essentially escape? Or is it the only way to get a fair settlement?
No, it will take a long time for the LTTE to regroup because Prabhakaran has lost a lot of senior fighters. He has also lost arms and armaments, and he will need at least 2 years to rebuild the organization.
Okay. Dr. Maitrian, before I take a break, final thoughts from you. Is that something which concerns you? You're calling for a ceasefire, but you and the AIADMK have been arguing against the LTTE for a long time. Are you concerned that a ceasefire may actually help the LTTE to come back?
We demand immediate ceasefire in Sri Lanka and the rights of the Tamils to be protected. If these moves fail, we will press for Elam. We have been very categorical on this. We have made it in our election manifesto.
Reference has been made to the UN Security Council's informal meeting. They forgot to say that the Security Council asked the LTTE to lay down arms and surrender. That is the precondition. That's what will clear the way for a cessation of hostilities. And that's what we should be demanding from India.
Surrender?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not commenting on it. That's a very legitimate demand, or it's not a legitimate demand. I'm not going to comment on it. But if LTT may think that they are the preponderant representatives of the people, and they have their freedom to remain there. But my point,
listen, because they've murdered most of the other Tamil leaders.
Yes. I'm not apologizing for that. See, my only point I want to insist is don't lend media legitimacy and political legitimacy and journalistic legitimacy to a politico-military junta, the Rajapaksa regime. That's only my request.
Only one point. The word genocide is loosely being bandied about. There is a strict definition about it, ethnic cleansing. If at all there is ethnic cleansing, it was LTTE which did it by driving out all the Muslims from the north. And it also massacred lots of civilians. That's one aspect. You can't see a single Burgher or Sinhalese or Muslim in the north of Bovinia. Maybe after the LTTE is defeated, they can go back and resettle. On the other hand, the Tamils are everywhere, not only in Sri Lanka but all over the world.
No,
they live
ministers.
in.
The ministers are Tamils.
The ministers are Tamils.
Members of Parliament Tamils.
So to call it what is happening is, as Father Gaspar said, it's a politico-military war, and LTT is waging a urban guerrilla war where civilian casualties are inevitable.
Okay, fine.
I'll end up a note.
Okay,
I'll end up a note.
I have to take a break. I'm sorry we're out of time. I want to give the audience a chance. I'm going to take a break. We'll come back in just a couple of minutes. And also let's try and see if there are any other electoral issues here in Tamil Nadu. We've just got completely bogged down with this one issue, perhaps because of the headlines that we've been seeing and the pictures we've been seeing. But is this going to actually decide the Tamil Nadu elections? I'm not so sure. We'll find out when we come back after this break. Welcome back to the special edition of The Big Fight, which is coming to you from Chennai. We are here to really figure out what the political issues are in this particular election. But I think the election, perhaps, as this entire debate for sure, has been almost hijacked by the situation in another country, in Sri Lanka, with what has been happening to the LTTE. And of course, you've been seeing all those pictures on your screen all day, all week as to what's happening. Now, before I come to the audience, I want to do a very quick, unscientific snap poll among all of you. How many of you think that the issue of Sri Lanka and what is happening with the LTTE is the main issue in this election? How many of you think it's the main issue? Okay. All right. To get a sense, how many of you think there are other more important issues? Okay. Other important. Okay. So I think it's fairly divided, the audience itself. Let me get some sense. What do you think the real issues are then?
Real issues are like we have got power shortage, price rise, and law and order situation. Everything is there. Coupled with the fact is that there is a LTT issue.
Okay, now you people at the back there, I know have been shouting and saying that the LTT in particular is the key issue. You think it's the main issue?
It is the main issue. When you look into the Sri Lankan issue, you just forget about the LTTE, forget about Prabhakaran. So first of all, you have to look into the genocide. What is happening in Sri Lanka is genocide. People are dying every day. Hundreds and thousands of people are dying every day. So my question to Madam Jayanti Natarajan, you are telling what is happening, what's happening in Sri Lanka is genocide. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So my question is, when a particular country is running a genocide against a particular community, so the next country, the country which is next to that particular country, is giving money, giving support.
You have no idea. The parliament, the minister has already explained, no arms are being given, nothing at all. That's also not true.
The Indian cricket team went to Sri Lanka, played a safe game and came back. The Sri Lankan team went to Pakistan, had a hit and came back. That is the difference between terrorism and freedom fighting. I have a question to Mr. Ram. Though we have got certain differences on your opinion about the Sri Lankan issue, about the right to self-determination by the national races. Though you support Kosovo and Palestine, you don't support the Elam Tamil issue. That's all fine. But as a journalist, as a championing cause of journalism, you have never condemned the killing of Lasantha or any other journalist in Sri Lanka. As a journalist, not as an individual, as a journalist, you have never condemned any killings of journalists in Sri Lanka, including Lasantha.
That is completely untrue, because you don't read our newspaper. Obviously, you just live in your own world. Of course we condemn the assassination, the killing of Lasantha, whatever his views, and this has come out. We have published plenty of things. Every Indian newspaper has condemned it.
Unless we restore the fundamental rights of these Sri Lankan Tamils and resolve the fundamental problems of the Sri Lankan Tamils, the coexistence of these two communities never happen. And as Mr. Swamy rightly pointed out, what is important is the unitary constitution of Sri Lanka should be abolished. We got to, the Sri Lankan Tamil should implement, should form a federal constitution with more powers to the Sri Lankan Tamils. Unless otherwise, you can't just and another organization will emerge. Unless we resolve this, another organization will emerge and take forward the Sri Lankan Tamils issue in a better way.
First of all, hang on. Is that something which all of you would agree with? That whatever happens with the LTTE, what India should certainly press for is to make sure that you don't return to the situation as existed before the LTTE rose, when it was almost a Sinhala, chauvinist sort of a situation. Is that something that everyone would presumably agree?
India should press for allowing United Nations agencies, international NGOs,
He's hijacking
to visit and meet the people.
No,
Number one.
India should press for a constitution in Sri Lanka where there's absolutely no discrimination between Tamils.
Okay, let me get some more voices. You had some views? Lady here.
The chief of LTTE, Prabhakaran, we were talking about whether or not what he is doing is right. And if he really believed that the suppression of Tamils should be stopped, and if he had the interest of Tamils in mind, then why did he suppress and eliminate all the other groups which had the same interest? And still we debate about whether or not he's a terrorist. And we have an eminent person here. We have an eminent person here on the panel who is actually comparing him with Bhagat Singh.
How do you compare Subhash Chandra Bose? How do you compare Subhash Chandra Bose to Prabhakaran?
And next, and I'm not, can I complete?
sit in comfortably and share, speak with the mic.
It's very easy.
Excuse me. I am a citizen.
That's absolutely patronising and wrong.
They have every right. You are comfortably sitting there too.
The feelings of the people there.
Vikram,
I completely understand.
I take offense at his patronizing remarks. Why can't those girls speak?
No,
All
no,
those
ma'am.
people
And
speak.
just one other thing.
How dare he say those girls?
Excuse me, just one thing.
What is this absolutely patronizing remark?
Actually,
I condemn it.
Exactly.
This
already
is
a referendum. I tell you.
No, and if he
Stop your
really did
fascist
take care of the
attitude.
Tamils,
No, ma'am.
why are the Tamil civilians coming out of their clutches? Why? It means that it's still unsafe.
You asked us why we're not talking about Gandhi, why we're not talking about Bhagat Singh, because we're talking about LTTE, and because I want you to tell me how you draw a parallel between Subhash Chandra Bose and Prabhakaran and Bhagat Singh, and how those three fight for a common cause, terrorism.
Sitting here, we are hurt by your
Yeah, fine. Let me complete.
You have a mic too.
Let me complete. For the Tamil people, it's a freedom struggle. It's a freedom struggle, and the freedom struggle are represented by an organization. Okay. For for a particular ethnic community, if their leaders represent the freedom struggle, it's right now their people have represented. There's always a referendum took place based upon known as Vattukudai Thimaranam for the homeland. Out of that, Sri Lanka, Elam Tamils won 17 out of 18 seats.
Okay, Manik, the gentleman had a point.
Bhagat Singh, when he threw a bomb in the parliament, he gave up. He said he wouldn't, at the cost of getting caught. He threw the bomb knowing that he's going to get caught. He gave up his life in order. That is called a true revolutionary. That's called a freedom fighter. That is not called. That is not called
This is the only
a
organization
terrorist.
which carries cyanide coop under the neck.
Goes out to anyone who is for LTTE, having considered their arguments that an LTTE is an organization which is fighting for the freedom of the Tamils there. Why are the Tamils today feeling a sense of insecurity? No one else has answered this yet. No one else has answered.
Excuse me, sir. I have a very modest question. Will anybody here guarantee after LTTE or after ceasefire, will there not be a situation like this in Sri Lanka? Will there be a unity?
When the Sri Lankan Army Chief Mr. Sarath Fonseca called the Tamil Nadu party's political jokers, the AIDMK leader kept a stony silence. But now she has raised the pitch. Is this not sheer electoral posturing?
Nearly 10,000 people killed by Rajiv Gandhi through IP gap. That's why the Prabhakaran killed Rajiv Gandhi. It is true or not? Yeah, it is the main issue.
That's totally wrong. That's a blatant propaganda of the LTTE.
Okay, fine.
Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India. And he knows, I said he was.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, can I, that's it for this round.
And that's what it means,
That's it for this round.
English.
That's it for this round. We're going to take a break at this particular point. When we come back, I want final comments from all our panelists. And let's also, at some point, if we can, maybe get their thoughts on some of the other issues, which I'm sure will be there in the Tamil Nadu elections. That when we come back after this break. Welcome back to the Big Fight Special, coming to you from Chennai. As you can see, tempers are running very high out here on this entire issue, what's happening in Sri Lanka and the LTTE. But perhaps there are other issues which are also going to be dominating in these elections. As I turn to all the panelists for their final thoughts, I'm going to ask you maybe, is this going to be the major issue that is going to be deciding these elections, or are there other issues as well? I'm just going to start off by getting final thoughts from Joe Ramaswamy.
If Prabhakaran is killed, the marginal elements here will try to whip up passions. But if the state government is determined, it can quell it.
Right. Why don't I start in reverse order from there? Mr. Murari.
I don't think it will be an issue. It was never an issue since the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi in 1991. But if anything happens to Prabhakaran, if he is killed, then the mood might change, because the people of Tamil Nadu are basically soft-hearted.
Okay, so if Prabhakaran is killed, it could have an impact.
It could lead to a change in mood, drastic change in mood.
Okay,
otherwise, no.
It's not going to be a major issue. Do you think that's a possibility? It is not going to be a major issue in the election?
It's going to be a major issue in Tamil Nadu, because you have to be a Tamil to understand it.
I am a Tamil. Sorry, I am a Tamil.
I actually think that's actually, hang on. I actually think that's a patronizing comment also.
Fine.
Just to add to that. Why do you think there are no other issues that matter?
See,
in the rest of Tamil Nadu?
Lives are being killed. Every day 40 lives have been killed. Children have been massacred. Women have been compulsorily sterilized in war-free zones. These are very sentimental issues. Life is going lost. So whenever life is going lost, it will be a very, very sentimental issue.
Okay, fine. Mr. Ram?
It is not the primary issue at all. I think the power shortage, the price rise for essential commodities, and several other things are there. But I think this issue will go against the present rulers and the alliance they are leading. That's the sense I get, because people feel helpless about what is happening. But it's got a very small weight in this electoral process. That's my reading of this.
Okay, so it's got a small weight. Father Gaspar?
I'll make a professional statement on that. It is an issue, but it depends on. Like in the northern Tamil Nadu, it will affect 3 to 4%. In the delta districts, similar to 3 to 4%. The southern districts is quite marginal. But if something happens to Prabhakaran, I think that will be a kind of catalyst. That could be a catalyst. But having said that, what people are bugged with is the kind of duplicity practiced by all parties. I think more than the Sri Lankan issue, the kind of duplicitous politics by almost all the parties, it has made the people feel quite tired and cumbersome about politicians in general.
Okay, Dr. Swamy.
Twice in Tamil Nadu, the impact of LTT was tested objectively. First was 1991 after the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, and also before, when the Chandrasekhar government dismissed the DMK government for assisting the LTT in the state. In fact, pre-assassination, the LTT was at its height of its popularity here, judging by media reports then. But the government dismissed the DMK government, and subsequent election, the DMK didn't even get a single seat in the assembly. It was a complete rout. The second time was when pro-LTT lawyers held up the functioning of the courts in the country, in the state, and one day the police beat them black and blue, and instead of sympathy, 84% of the people polled, according to major newspapers, supported the police in beating up those pro-LTT lawyers. So there are two objectives. Prabhakaran is killed. Most people in India, in the state included, would say he deserves it for killing Rajiv Gandhi. That's what people will say. It will have no impact. And as Ram said, the issues will be others. Perhaps the hardcore supporters of the DMK might feel that there was a promise that they would do something for the LTT. They didn't do, a sense of betrayal, so they may desert the DMK. But general public, it will have no effect.
Okay.
As far as I am concerned, I am very clear-cut in my approach. LTT problem, not even LTT problem. Suffering Tamils in Sri Lanka, that problem will have some effect. Say we approach the people in a positive way. What all we have done? We have fulfilled our poll promises, and therefore we go and appeal to the people on our achievements, both I mean UPA as well as DPA government. We have achieved many a thing, and we have proposed to do many a thing. 1 kilo per 1 rupee is not an ordinary thing. Only the loss. You people from the highest strata, have you ever starved? I have starved. I know the starvation. And another thing is, we are very categorical. Our Prime Minister candidate is Manmohan Singh.
Thank you so much, sir. Jayanti, are you relieved that there is at least one of your allies who is saying that Dr. Manmohan Singh is the prime ministerial candidate? Because the rest of them are all saying, I mean, Pawar is saying, well, we'll decide later. Lalu saying, yeah, we'll decide later. I mean, you've got one who's still saying Manmohan Singh.
However witty...
That's because I don't think they realistically expect Karunanidhi to become
however
one
witty
either.
the remark appears to be, it's my duty to point out that it was my party, it is my party, which decided not to go in for a national alliance. Therefore, we are testing my party's strength. The people will vote for us. We will know when the elections are out which side the laugh is going to happen.
Okay, now returning to Tamil Nadu.
No, the issue
is this going to be the issue?
No, the issue about Tamil Nadu, the issue whether this whole, what we were discussing about, we will vote for the issues that affect our state and our people. Of course, our hearts bleed for our brothers and sisters across the sea in Sri Lanka. We will do everything we can to protect them. But we will not allow this issue to be politicized into a cheap election stunt, as some are trying to do.
By the some, I suspect she is referring to you. So, would you have a comment?
Thank you, Vikram, for accepting that ADMK will have the last say in this election, and because you have called me the last. And the Eram Tamil issue will be one of the major issues. Come May 16th, the union government, in which ADMK will be part of it, will see to it that Rajapaksa listens to the voice of the Tamils, listens to the voice of the nation, and listens to the international voice. Apart from that, there are other equally important issues: the absence of law and order in the state, the non-governance, the family rule. All these issues will play a major role.
Okay, now Dr. Mehran, seeing as you did say that on the 16th of May or the 17th of May we will decide, and you're so confident the AIDMK will have the final thought, have you given any thought to whom you are going to be backing as a prime ministerial candidate? Would you and Jayanti, who've been arguing so much, perhaps be shaking hands on the 17th of May? Is that a possibility? Will you be shaking hands on the 17th of May?
General Secretary, Purashitha Madam Jayalalitha has very clearly said, she has appealed to the people of Tamil Nadu, give me all the 40 seats and send in my hands, and Tamil Nadu will decide who will rule the center.
And so it could be...
That's not an answer. That's not an answer.
Is it a possibility it could be Manmohan Singh, whom she will back at the end of the day?
I refuse to answer that question now. I refuse to answer this question.
You refuse to answer this question. You refuse to answer. You didn't say no, but you refuse to answer. I tell you what, let's come back here on the 17th of May perhaps and see which way the wind is really blowing. That, I'm afraid, is it from this particular edition of The Big Fight, coming to you from Chennai. We'll be back again next week, same time, unfortunately, a different place. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.